Kaufman is alive. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at all the new comics I picked up at the comic book shop this week. Thanks for clicking on the video. I do post these every week, and I do post daily comic book reviews. So go check out my channel, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. First one I'll be looking at is the only Image book I picked up this week was Spawn number 361. I love that Spawn still sticks to its original numbering. Up to issue 361, one of the few comic books with such a high number at this point, because you get like X-Men, Spider-Man, Iron Man, they all get rebooted like once a year back to number one. They do try to keep the legacy numbers over at Marvel. DC tried that for a little while too, I feel like, although it seems like they've kind of given up on that. But Spawn, still with the original numbering. Again, I love that. Reminds me of when I first started collecting, and there'd be comic books with issues into the 400s, 500s, all the way up to even the 700s. So I wish comics would get back to that. I feel like that was kind of the allure of comic books, was just, getting a full run of something that has hundreds of issues. And back in the 90s, thanks to a guy like Todd McFarlane, honestly, with the number ones, like Spider-Man number one, then you had like Jim Lee's X-Men number one, and feels like the comic companies kind of cracked a code in the early 90s and figured out that just adding a one to a comic book, making it a number one issue, would automatically make it a good seller. And there's something to that. So again, we got Todd McFarlane. He's doing the script and plot. He doesn't do the pencils anymore on Spawn, and he really hasn't since after about the first year or so of Spawn. But we got Brett Booth doing the artwork in here, and immediately upon opening up this book, it reminds me of exactly why I'm still picking up Spawn. It's for Brett Booth's artwork. And I haven't flipped through any of these books yet today, so I'm just checking them out for the first time. But man, we get some great artwork here by Brett Booth. We saw Spawn kind of die in the last issue. I've covered that issue too, so go check that out. I did a review of that last week, issue 360. We got Robert Nugent on colors, Adelso Corona doing the inks here, Tom Wojciechowski doing the letters. Just some awesome splash pages to open this book. We get a double splash page here. NYX, or that's the X-Men book, but Nyx, this is her name. She's the Queen of Hell. Both spelled the same, NYX. But like I said, Spawn got killed at the end of the last issue, but she basically brought him back to life on the last page. And she's got this zombie avatar here on Earth that she's using. So I just love all the really fine cross-hatching and penciling done here by Brett Booth and Adelso Corona. Just a kind of style you don't see a lot of in comic books anymore, with all the hyper rendering, it feels like, in all the panels. You can tell it's not done digitally, that he's actually using pencils to draw this stuff in inks. And awesome double splash page. We got, looks like Greenpool here, some version of Deadpool or Deathstroke, just with a different coloring. And but like Bjorn Barons does the cover here, but he does like computer generated images here. You can kind of tell. I like his covers. They're really cool. I don't think they would work very well if you had like all interiors looking like this though. So now we're looking at the only DC comic I picked up today, Absolute Batman number 5. This is a $4.99 comic book. Spawn was a $2.99 comic book, I forgot to mention. But we got part 5 of The Zoo, this opening story to this Absolute Batman series. I've done reviews of the first 4 issues, so if you haven't seen them, go check those out when you're done with this video. Got Nick Dragata doing the artwork. Scott Snyder doing the writing here. Awesome splash page there. I love, again, all the cross-hatching and rendering and the bat signal there. There are some artists who I feel like are still pretty clearly using the old style of pencils and inks. I could be wrong, but I think Nick Dragotta is one of them. Some really heavy anime influence on this book in particular. I'd say kind of on Absolute Superman as well. So, and to an extent, Absolute Wonder Woman. But I guess these titles are all trying to kind of update these characters. Although you could argue that, you can't really, there's no way to update Batman and Superman, Wonder Woman. Those are such classic characters. There's no real way to change them, make them better. They're kind of best in their original form, but I have enjoyed this Absolute Batman series. Awesome cover here. Got Black Mask and Alfred in the background, if you don't notice that. A very surgical Batman. He kind of reminds me of the character Dexter from the show. Except this Batman obviously is not a murderer. He doesn't kill, but he's just very surgical and precise with everything that he's doing. So then I look at the Marvel comics we got today. Deadpool Wolverine #2. Actually, I got 2 Deadpool comics. Actually, they're all X-Men related, essentially. But we got Deadpool Wolverine. Joshua Cassara is the artist here. Ben Percy's the writer. I've done a review of the first issue. Thought this was a really cool series. This does feel like an ongoing series. I love the characters that are being used here. We got Maverick showing up here. Obviously, Wolverine and Deadpool. And we saw the return of Strife at the end of the last issue. So I love seeing Rob Liefeld's characters, Deadpool and Strife, interacting with each other here. Some bone dinosaurs. That's pretty cool. Some great artists here in the Stormbreakers, which is like the next generation of elite artists, as it says, all the new artists. Some really great ones in here. Nick Klein, Martin Coccolo, Lucas Werneck, specifically, are some ones that I've really enjoyed. Josh Cassara is also an excellent artist. I really liked his work on X-Men previously, and now him moving over to this Deadpool Wolverine is a perfect fit. So there have been way too many Deadpool Wolverine series, I feel like, this past year. With the movie coming out, though, I kind of understand it. I'm sure they all sell pretty well. So we got Strife riding a giant flying dragon, a skinless dragon here. Just really cool stuff. I've seen some artwork for some of the upcoming issues of this as well, and I'm really looking forward to this storyline with Strife, Deadpool, and Wolverine. So this was a $3.99 comic book, actually. Very rare we get $3.99 books anymore. Deadpool Team-Up, Rob Liefeld. This is his final Marvel book ever. I got the B cover here, which I just thought was a really awesome drawing of Deadpool's face. I love the color on that cover too. But this has been a cool series. I really like this series. Just a big team-up series, as the name suggests. Got Spider-Gwen, Major X, Shatterstar, Cable, Hercules. We've seen Wolverine show up, of course. Lady Deadpool. They're trying to protect these dragon eggs, if I can just boil the plot down into 1 or 2 sentences. And the Dragon Man is after them, so Shatterstar with his giant gold outfit, that looks ridiculous. Just some really long panels here by Liefeld. Not a whole lot of storytelling going on from panel to panel, but some cool action shots nonetheless. Deadpool butt. You really can't tell the difference between the way he draws Lady Deadpool and Deadpool. The bodies almost look the same, except she's got breasts and a ponytail there. Ral Dorn is this really obscure Fantastic Four character that he's thrown in here. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a little Easter egg here where we find out that Major X is actually Rob Liefeld himself. So, at least I think that's supposed to be Rob. It sure looks like him. Self-insert. He says, always pleasure fighting alongside you, Wade. And he says, have we met? Many times. Name's Rob. We've had a few. Pretty sure we've never met, Deadpool says. We have. I think I'd remember. It's been 30 years. So breaking the fourth wall here. That's funny. So I've liked Deadpool, this Deadpool team-up. Might as well be called Deadpool Wolverine team-up. But go check out this series. Rob Liefeld's final book at Marvel. He claims he got snubbed on the red carpet by Kevin Feige. He wasn't invited to the after party at the Deadpool Wolverine movie premiere, and he didn't get, special creator credits on the movie either. So he's decided to leave Marvel. He's going to focus on Youngblood from now on over at Image. Then the final new comic I picked up this week was X-Men number 11, Legacy 311. I just did a review last night of X-Men number 10, so go check that one out. Just some awesome looking covers here by Stegman on this series. Every one has been really cool. The penciler on the inside here is Nitho Diaz, however, and I have loved his artwork. I think his penciling rivals Ryan Stegman's for sure. The Nitho Diaz books I've enjoyed as much as the Ryan Stegman ones. And I thought the last issue was awesome. We saw Cyclops really taking charge, showing everyone who's boss. I love the way Jed MacKay's writing Cyclops here in this book. I like that they're calling back to New Mutants number 1 from 2019 in the Krakoa era too, where the Starjammers were a big part of that New Mutants storyline. They went into outer space, Magic and her team. Just some great shots of Cyclops. Some great drawings of Cyclops by Nitho Diaz here. Of course, Corsair is Cyclops' father. I think this adjectiveless X-Men line has been this series has been the best of the X-Men line, I'm trying to say. Just a fun action book, pretty episodic. You don't have to think too hard about things that are going on, which, for your taste you may or may not like, but a solid comic book, I'd say. Great splash page there. Cyclops. Looks like he's surrounded by the Kree, or maybe some scrolls, some Skrull Kree. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, we got Alpha Flight showing up. That's great. I love Alpha Flight. One of my favorite teams. I need to get back around to reviewing that Alpha Flight miniseries that came out, I think it was last year. I started on it. I did a review of the first issue. But the Canadian superhero team. And we get an old school X-Mail, letters from the fans. There's a sneak peek at the cover for X-Men number 12 there, with Alpha Flight, Puck, and Guardian showing up. Psylocke and Cyclops. So this was a $4.99 book, X-Men number 11. And the final book I got today was a Savage Dragon back issue. You know I love Savage Dragon. Trying to collect, get a full run on it. My comic shop keeps putting out new Savage Dragons in the back bins. I picked up this really rare cover, issue 188. Don't even know what year this came out. Probably the mid 2000s. 2013, actually, so I was a little off there. So a little over a decade ago, this book came out, but it's got this great old school cover. It's got these fake tears on the side to make it look old and worn, even though it's not. This is in perfectly mint condition here. So I got Wildstar here. I love Wildstar, old Image superhero. I think Jerry Ordway was the creator of him, if I'm not mistaken. I might got that wrong off the top of my head. I like this page layout here. We got the two faces facing off and then the four panels telling a story there from each of their perspectives, I'm guessing. Again, I have not flipped through this yet. This is the first time I'm looking at it, so this guy almost looks like a scroll. We got Daredevil, Fair Use Daredevil here. I believe the deal with this character was if you just put him on the cover, you had to put Dynamic Daredevil or some sort of adjective in front of his name, because he's a character that was around since before Marvel's Daredevil, but Marvel having copyrights to their own Daredevil, so. But there is this fair use one that Larson uses. He likes to use fair use characters like Mickey Mouse, Captain Tootsie. Always love Savage Dragon here. I picked this up for about $9. Lots of letters pages here as well. We get a backup story at the end. This is by Scott James. So, but I just couldn't resist. Just a great, I love this old school style cover. So thanks again for watching. That's all I've got for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you pick up any of these books? Have you read them yet? Let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. See you guys on the next one. Go read comics.